It looks like the short return home to Atlanta and Turner Field has rejuvenated the Braves. The pitching's been terrific the first 2 games of this series, and the bats have awakened from their slumber as Atlanta's won 2 in a row from Houston. Now it falls on Derek Lowe to give the Braves their first sweep of the year as they wrap up the series against the Astros on Sunday. Braves on Fox Sports South. It's a beautiful day for baseball at Turner Field, and the Braves are hoping for a 3-game sweep. We welcome you to Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South, brought to you by your Greater Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. The Braves look to make it 3 in a row as they try to sweep away the Houston Astros here in Atlanta. And a pleasant Sunday afternoon, everybody. With Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine, I'm Chip Carey. I don't know about you fellas, but I feel a lot better about the club. They've won 2 in a row.
Team's playing a lot better here at home and looking for the first sweep of the Astros since 2003. And 10 runs, 15 hits. That's a season high in hits. That'll make everybody feel a little bit better after yesterday's game.
The key word, though, Tommy, momentum. It's only as good as your next starting pitcher. Derek Lowe is that man for Atlanta today.
Yeah, he is. And it's been a little bit of a tale of 2 seasons, really. Derek had a good spring, made some adjustments, was feeling good about the adjustments he made coming out of the spring. So far in the regular season, it's been a little bit of a struggle. Uncharacteristically high amount of base runners, 43, I think it is, in 28 innings. But most alarmingly is 16 walks. So I think he's kind of in that mode right now where he's still trying to figure out if the adjustments he made are the ones that he wants to continue with.
Derek Lowe, the Atlanta starter. Bud Norris pitching for the Houston Astros. The Braves and their fans going for a 3-game sweep. First pitch and starting lineups from beautiful Turner Field in Atlanta right after this. The Braves go for a 3-game series sweep. Houston trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Here is their Jaguars starting lineup. Michael Bourne, Jeff Keppinger, and Carlos Lee, the first 3. Lance Berkman in the lineup has worn out Derek Lowe. Pence, Feliz, Matsui, Tolles, and Norris for Brad Mills. And a quick strike to the speedy Houston leadoff man, Michael Bourne. Warm Sunday afternoon, 85 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And the count even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves have done a good job handling Michael Bourne so far in the series. He has only 1 hit. And guys, as you know, as he goes, so goes this Houston offense, which has been problematic all year long for them.
Yeah, he's tied for the league lead in stolen bases, too, with 10. So keep him off the sacks. 4 pitching keys to success for Derek Lowe today. Arm slot, stay on top of the ball, get a little more sinking action. He's been dropping down some, and the big inning's been hurting him. Tom alluded to that. We were talking about what to watch for today, and I looked at some of his most recent starts. He had a 4-run inning in the 6th against the Cardinals that did him in. He had a big 3-run inning in the 3rd against the Phillies, and 3 starts ago against Colorado, 3 in the 5th that knocked him out of the game. And that's what's been kind of shortening his starts.
Inside corner, Bourne is caught looking for out number 1. He struck out 3 times in the series opener.
Yeah, that's the proverbial you can't steal first base. Nice comeback fastball right there. So far, I mean, good location early on. Got ahead of him, stayed ahead, and put him away.
So Jeff Keppinger stands in. Jeff from these parts went to Parkview High School and is a Georgia Bulldog. And hitting .290 on the season. And a couple of hits back here in Atlanta. And the frustrating thing, too, for Lowe, it's you see flashes of brilliance, and then that big inning, he really hasn't been able to put 3 solid innings back to back to back yet. Maybe today will be the day that happens. And a ground ball to second. 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, I almost wonder a little bit, like we were talking about with the adjustments that he made, and you have a little bit of still the uncertainty as to what those are doing, how comfortable you are with them. So he's still feeling that out a little bit. And as Joe alluded to at the big inning, look, as a pitcher, you kind of know when that's going on. You kind of have it in the back of your mind. And in each game, when you're getting through some innings unscathed or whatever, you're in the back of your mind still guarding against having that big inning. So hopefully he can get on a roll and not worry about it.
Carlos Lee, the Houston left fielder, still without a home run this year, shockingly, and hitting just .176.
This lineup, though, has done a lot of damage against Derek in his career, including Carlos Lee. The guys that are in the lineup today that have faced Derek before, a combined average of .434 with 6 homers, and Carlos Lee a .400 career average with a lot of at-bats.
14 hits in 35 to be exact, with a couple of home runs. And Lowe jumps ahead of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It is a warm, breezy day. As we look at the flags above the chop house, they are blowing straight out toward right center field.
I don't think Carlos is looking at those flags at the moment, Chip. He's kind of staring down, hoping that his voice hasn't just changed. This foul tip. Ooh. Bad hop.
Yeah, not exactly the way you want to start your Sunday afternoon.
No.
And the ever sympathetic organist here at Turner Field plays the MASH theme song. Been a while for Carlos Lee since he's gone deep. 85 at-bats, the longest without a home run at the start of a season for the big Houston slugger. This is a Houston club that's had all kinds of offensive problems. They've only hit 9 homers as a team.
I'm not sure where that last pitch was that he tried to pull, but I'd throw it right back there in the same place if I were Derek. I don't think he would offer.
Hot shot and past Chipper Jones. Chipper points to the dugout and says he never saw that ball off the bat.
No.
Well, Sundays are typically real hard to see, and you're right. Chipper didn't really move until that ball was by him.
Got shades on, too. This pitch looked like it was up, Tommy.
Yeah, I think he did try to go back to where he was on that last pitch that Carlos fouled off, but elevated it just a touch, and Carlos put a good swing on it.
He's not having a very happy time. Here's Berkman.
I'm sure that line drive is making him feel a little bit better.
Berkman didn't play here Friday. Ironically enough, he had a groin problem and is hitting just .229 on the year. Lance also knee surgery. It sidelined him for first couple of weeks of the season, and he had some swelling in the knee. That had the Astros concerned, but he's back in there now. And hitting fourth between Lee and Hunter Pence, who's on deck here in the first inning.
Well, his numbers against Derek, I'm sure he was going to try and do everything he could to get in there today. See if he could get something going.
He's 8 for 26 against him with a couple of long balls and ball two.
While the Braves' bats have come to life, the Astros still scuffling offensively. And in this series, they are 11 for 63 overall, and all 11 hits are singles. Derek tried to pick him off while he's standing on the bag. That doesn't happen too often that you get that guy.
Well, he's trying to trick him.
Yeah, Carlos will go if you don't pay attention to him, but I don't think he would have gotten very far with that lead.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Houston 5-game losing streak, 7.5 behind the Cardinals.
That's a spot that Derek's had a hard time hitting consistently to left-handers. And when he does try to throw that sinker down and away, too many times he's leaving it out over the plate.
Full count.
Yeah, which would lead you to believe it's it could be a couple of things. Either he knows it and he's trying to force the ball there, or mechanically he's fallen off the mound a little bit too quickly, which is making his arm drag, and physically he's not able to get it there. He can get it to the outside corner, but he can't get it down around the knees.
Lee runs with a full count, and Berkman draws a walk. Braves ask for an appeal of Tim McClelland at third. No call forthcoming, and 2-out trouble in the Houston first.
Bases on balls. You talked about it, Tommy. That's something a little unusual for him, and that's already his 17th in 28 innings this year.
And now you've got Hunter Pence in the box, hitting .224 with a couple of home runs. Pence has only 1 hit in the series, but he took away a Jason Hayward homer the other night, leaping over the fence. And he promptly grounds to short. That'll end the first inning. Lowe gives up a single and a walk with 2 outs. Houston strands a pair, and the Braves coming up here at home on Sunday. batting gloves ready to go here in the bottom of the first inning. We have no score. Here's Bobby Cox's Jaguars starting lineup. Good production out of the leadoff spot the last couple of games. Not surprisingly, Omar Infante and Nate McLeod have led off very successfully against Houston. Martin Prado, Chipper Jones second and third. McCann, Gloss, and a red-hot Jason Hayward hitting sixth. The lower third of the order has Melky Cabrera, Omar Infante, and Derek Lowe batting ninth.
Bud Norris on the mound, 25 years old, 6 feet, 228. Pretty solid guy out of California. 6th round pick back in 2006.
Last year went 6-3 in 10 starts with the big league club. Had an ERA of around 4.5. Gave up 5 runs in 5 innings last time out as the Reds beat him. And Nate McLeod jammed, pops that toward third, where Pedro Feliz makes the one-handed catch, and McLeod retired for out number 1.
4 keys to success for old Bud Norris today. Leadoff men. He handles them remarkably well. They are only 3 for 34 against him now in his career. Also, he's got a pass list, and it's not guessed today. It's free passes. 13 walks in 17 innings for him. He throws hard, has a pretty good sinker with his fastball in the low to mid 90s, but he's got to throw it for strikes.
The National League's top hitter is Martin Prado, and Martin takes a quick strike. He's at 368. 35 total hits this year, 10 multi-hit games for Prado, and this is game number 25 of the season. And quickly behind, 0-2. Braves a winner yesterday, 10-1. Tim Hudson, a milestone win, number 150 in his career. And a fly ball well hit to right. Pence, though, hardly had to move. And here's the rest of Houston's defensive lineup. They've had problems catching the ball as well this year. Lee, Bourne, and Pence the outfield. Lee doesn't move all that well. Feliz already 4 errors at third base. Keppinger, Matsui, and Berkman. And J.R. Tolles the catcher. Bud Norris the pitcher. Now Chipper Jones the Atlanta hitter with 2 outs.
Got to get this guy going. Everybody else showing some signs of picking it up and returning to normalcy. But Chipper just 4 for his last 28. Had another 0 for yesterday. And when you go back to August of last year, the average for the month of August, 247 compared to a 300 average. September and October, just 202 and just 230 in April. So it's not just this first month. It dates back a few months even to last year. You know, and he said, I mean, he came out and said at the end of the year, if you remember, guys, that if this continues, I'm not going to keep playing because I'm not used to this and can't stand the mediocrity.
Well, let's hope for his sake and the Braves that he's not confronted with that decision when the year's over.
Let's hope.
Way outside, a ball, 2 strikes. The other side of that is when you look at guys like McLeod and Chipper and McCann and Gloss, even Melky Cabrera, almost all of those guys, if not all of them, are hitting well below their career averages. And Chipper down on strikes as Norris works a very efficient bottom of the first inning. Is brought to you in part by Sherwin-Williams, by your local Ford dealers, and by AirTran Airways. Beautiful day in Atlanta. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South, and it's brought to you in beautiful high definition by H.H. Gregg. Temperature in the mid-80s, a sun-splashed crowd. Braves going for a sweep, and it's Bark in the Park Day here at Turner Field. And Pedro Feliz, Kaz Matsui, and J.R. Tolles coming up in the Houston second. It's already been a milestone series for Feliz. He's earned his first walk of the year. Houston, a very aggressive offensive club. They've walked only 43 times this year. And they're averaging barely 3 runs a game. Talked a lot about the lack of power they have. And a lot of their hitters are well below their career averages, too. Very, very slow start for Brad Mills' ball club at 8-15. A liner into center. McLouth. 1 out. The way the Cardinals are playing, fellas, I don't know if you want to be 7.5 games behind the 16-8 Redbirds.
Now, they're a pretty good ball club and obviously have extremely strong pitching, and you get that combination of a team that can hit a little bit and strong starting pitching. You let them get too far out in front, they're going to be tough to chase down.
The dog days may come early for Houston. Here's Matsui hitting a .162. This guy's had a pretty good professional career, certainly a great career in Japan, Tommy, and saw him with the Mets.
Yeah, he was a rock star in Japan. Came to New York and struggled a little bit there, and has bounced around to a number of teams since then. But pretty good little player. I mean, I don't know that. He came over touted as a very talented shortstop, and has since been moved to second base. And offensively, he's going to hit the long ball from time to time, but never been the kind of guy that walks a ton or anything like that. But good little addition to your ball club. Not kind of the guy you're going to rely on for huge numbers.
Low misses to him. 3 balls and a strike. He played with the Seibu Lions in Japan. Had over 1,400 hits over there. Went over the 2,000 hit mark in his all-time professional career last season. And that one off the foot of Derek Lowe, and Matsui is at first with the second Houston hit of the game.
Got him on the outside of the foot, trying to make a skate save there, which Tom could appreciate, but couldn't get the ricochet to go over to his defenseman at first.
Yeah, he's got to work on the ricochet part of that now.
Looks like he's okay, though.
So J.R. Tolles, the Houston catcher, he's 1 for 4. Tolles out of Crosby, Texas. Where's that between again? What, Dave?
Barrett and North Shelton.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Know exactly where that is. 20th round pick out of North Central Texas College. And a strike.
David Ross did a good job yesterday slowing down the Houston running game, throwing out a couple of guys. I don't know if that's a deterrent to them today or not. McCann doing the catching, but Matsui certainly a threat to go.
I think sooner or later the word's got to get out, doesn't it, that can't run very much on David? People keep trying.
Yeah, they do.
Fisted and fouled at third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I like the stolen base game. I hope we see more of it.
Definitely a lost art. You know, and long gone are the days of Ricky Henderson and guys like that, and Vince Coleman and McGee's and guys like that when I first came into the league. But I don't know if guys are doing a better job or guys just don't want to physically put themselves through that.
Fly ball hit toward right. Jason Hayward, wind blowing that way, and he twists and turns for the second out. One of the theories, Tom, is obviously the steroid era of our game. 1 through 8, everybody was hitting 20 home runs. Do you have a theory as to why the stolen base part of the game has vanished as much as it has?
I think that's part of it. You know, the home run part of the game has become so prominent that, look, a lot of guys, like I said, don't want to physically pound themselves to go out there to try and steal 80, 90 bases a year, whether it's the taxing of their legs or the sliding into the bases and risking getting hurt, whatever it is, guys, it's not an emphasis on the game nowadays.
And which was tougher from your perspective, facing a team with 8 guys that could hit 20 home runs or a team that had 4 or 5 guys that could steal 30?
Both. You know, I remember one of my first games against the Cardinals. I gave up a run in the first inning and a ball never left the infield, and it was like, oh, okay, that's how these guys do it.
Norris, 2 healthy cuts, 0-2.
Yeah, I think it was one of those games. It was a bunt single, stolen base, ground ball, 1-0. I'm losing, and it was like, I really haven't done anything wrong yet.
Those Cardinal teams on the turf made quick work of the opposition, and Lowe makes quick work of his mound opponent, Bud Norris. Another infield hit for Houston. Nothing happening. Scoreless second inning. Good inning. Brian McCann, Troy Gloss, and a red-hot Jason Hayward as Atlanta gets its first look at Bud Norris today. A 6-foot, 228-pound right-hander out of Green Bay, California.
I was watching him warm up a minute ago. See if you agree with me, Tommy. 6 feet, almost 230 pounds. If he had maybe another size or 2 bigger pants. Little Pete Harnish reincarnation here.
Yeah, he does have that kind of body style. Pretty simple delivery for a big guy, though.
Brian McCann looks for his first hit of the series. He was 0 for 4 here on Friday. Boy, you mentioned David Ross. What a job he did for Atlanta, both offensively and calling the game yesterday. He was blessed with 2 excellent all-around catchers. 2 balls, no strikes.
Like Chipper, though, Mac's been scuffling too. He's just 4 for his last 25.
Well, I would imagine with the resurgence of Troy Gloss that Brian's going to start seeing a few more good pitches to hit.
That'll help. They've never faced Norris before unless they saw him in spring training.
And 4 straight puts McCann on, and here is the resurgent Braves first baseman.
Boy, what a day Troy had yesterday. Started it off with a 2-run double over Hunter Pence's head that put the Braves on top, and he didn't stop there. Drove in 4 runs, and it was the first time since a game back in 2008 that he had a game where he had 4 RBIs. Bumped his average up too. It's up to 221.
So the Braves now a couple of men in double digits in runs driven in.
Geico quote of the day is basically Troy saying, I didn't think I was swinging that poorly. I'm not going to sit here and say I should be hitting 360, but I feel like I've been swinging the bat better than 180 or whatever it was.
He has. He said that's the proverbial hard 180. There's a lot of guys right now that are hitting a soft 300, and it goes both ways.
I'll take the soft 300.
6 straight out of the zone. Had a meeting with Norris.
Instead of coming back to the dugout and having your pals tell you, hang in there now.
Yeah,
right. Turn around.
Stay hot.
Yeah. Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
But the other part of it of that quote I thought that was great about Troy was he understands it is a results-oriented business.
Well, it is. I mean, it's all about numbers, and I guess the good thing about this time of year, like, yesterday had a few hits and his average jumps pretty quick. So you string together a couple of good ball games, and you're going to be back into the territory you're accustomed to being in.
Troy made him throw a strike. 2-1 now, the count.
Most of the regulars are somewhere in the 70 to 80 at-bat range. Martine's at 95 at-bats coming into the game, and it's not really until you get over 100 at-bats up to that point you can really make a move in your average.
Swing and a rocket hit down the left field line. That'll one-hop the fence. Lee with a very good accurate throw holds Gloss to a long single. Boy, did Troy rip that ball hard to left, and they're at the corners with nobody out.
A lot of his damage has been to the opposite field and up the middle, but not this time. He got something hanging out over the inside part. And he hit it so hard he didn't have time to get to second.
Yeah, I think if you look at Norris's numbers, the thing that jumps out at you is obviously is his stuff, his strikeouts, but also the control aspect of it. He's got a high number of walks, and you saw 6 out of the strike zone there, and then he tried to go the outer half of the plate with a fastball there that leaked back over the plate. So location certainly is an issue for him.
Jason Hayward did something there we have not seen much of, and that is hack at the first pitch, and he fouled it straight back.
It's the first time I remember seeing him do that.
Hayward has homered in 3 consecutive games. He has 7 for the year and 20 RBIs.
And don't forget he got robbed of another homer Friday night on a good play by Hunter Pence.
And since Bobby Cox said, hey, we're being too patient, Braves have been more aggressive. And not coincidentally have won the last 2 games.
But it's funny how that goes. I mean, in spring training, I remember everybody talking about how patient and disciplined these guys were at the plate and all the walks that they're taking, and all of a sudden you come out to the regular season and you struggle a little bit getting out of the gate. Now it's, well, we need to be more aggressive. So it's you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't sometimes, but a lot of it just has to do with pitch selection. If you're getting good pitches, swing at them. It's when you're swinging at the ones out of the zone that you get in trouble.
And I venture to say that if they'd done a little better job of hitting with men in scoring position and had won a few more games, everybody would be talking about how the patience is really paying off for this team. And because Bobby keeps saying, we're getting them on, we're not getting them in.
Braves as a team hitting .250 with runners in scoring position. Have knocked in just 68 of 310 men in scoring position in the first 24 games.
And for Jason, look, it's good that he's getting the reputation that he's a disciplined hitter. He's not going to chase a lot of pitches. But at the same time, you don't want to have that reputation of being a guy that just stands in there and automatically is going to take strike one. It's good for him to swing at a few to put a little bit of a doubt in that pitcher's mind so that when he gets in there, you don't want the pitcher having the mindset, look, I got strike one no matter what. You want him to have a little bit of a sense of having to make a pitch even on strike one so that maybe he tries to be too fine and gets himself behind in the count.
Right.
3-2. Gloss doesn't go, and Hayward pops it back our way. And out of play foul. How long does it take for that reputation to take hold.
Not long. You know, I mean, again, I think Bobby pointed it out a couple of days ago, and for good reason. I think people were starting to realize he's getting in there and he's taking strike one, and he's the kind of hitter that you look at as you're able to get into the count with him right away. And every once in a while, it's not a bad thing to ambush somebody.
Swing and a drive, hit toward right. Pitch going back, and he's going to have room on the warning track. Both runners tag, and a run will score on a sac fly to right from Jason Hayward, and he just missed a home run today in his first at bat.
He doesn't miss too many opportunities to get those guys in when he has a chance. That ball may have gotten in on him just a little bit. Actually kind of running away from him, but didn't like much getting it out of here in his 21st RBI.
So the Braves cash in the leadoff walk to Brian McCann. Gloss tagged. He's in scoring position for Melky Cabrera, who's been one of the hottest hitters in the last week for Atlanta.
Yeah, his average creeping up close to 200, which doesn't sound like much unless you've come from about 120. That's 6 for his last 18.
Norris was the Pacific Coast League's AAA Pitcher of the Year last year. The good news was he had a very low ERA at 2.63. The bad news is he was 4-9.
Yeah, I don't know how. That's amazing.
I mean, you played in that league, Joe. That's always been known as a great hitters league.
Awesome ERA. So he must have struck out a bunch of guys too. And as we see, he's striking out better than a strikeout an inning in the big leagues. So to win it with that kind of record, he had to be really overpowering.
Will Melky get a 3-0 green light? That's outside. Second walk of the inning and the game.
Braves will take it. Inning started with a walk. Brad Arnsberg is the new pitching coach for the Astros this year, joining Brad Mills' staff.
Brief homestand wrapping up for the Braves today. This is the third of 3 with the Astros. We will not see this Houston ball club until early August. Play a 3-game series down at Minute Maid Park on the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. Houston, a very home-heavy early part of the season. They make a 3-game pit stop here in Atlanta and then go right back home.
Yeah, another 10 days.
They've got the Diamondbacks and then the Padres. And Houston's not fared well in their home park. That's very bad news for the Houston team.
Well, their pitchers may be going through a little bit of what Atlanta's pitchers have had to deal with, and that is falling behind early and worrying that I can't afford to give up any more runs. So even a guy that's had control troubles trying to be too fine, perhaps.
No balls and a strike to Omar Infante. Talked a lot early this year about the improved nature of the Braves bench. Omar Infante certainly a big part of that, with Escobar out with the adductor muscle problem. And Omar 5 hits in his last 3 games. And a quick second strike. Don't know how much longer Unell is going to be out, but you got to wonder if that's maybe a potential disabled list situation for the Braves shortstop.
Yeah, you can't play too long a man short.
That injury took place up in St. Louis. And with 2 strikes, Infante slaps the ball to right. There's the catch. Gloss will tag. The throw is offline, and they're at the corners with 2 out.
Yeah, I think going back to Unell, you know, obviously it's a luxury when you have a guy of Omar's standing that you can plug in to play shortstop for you. But I know for Bobby, it's one of those things. He's in a situation right now where if Omar gets hurt, I don't know who plays shortstop on this team, and that typically is something that he doesn't like. He likes to have at least 2 guys that can play shortstop. It gives you a little bit of luxury to have a guy like Omar that you can give maybe an extra day or 2. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to wait too long because you put yourself in a vulnerable position being a man down, but especially not having another shortstop.
Well, the advantage for the Braves is you have today's game. You know he's not able to go today. You have an off day tomorrow. You maybe don't have to make a decision until you get to Washington on Tuesday, and perhaps by then Escobar could be good to go.
Yeah, but you also know how Bobby is about those types of injuries. As soon as a guy says or declares himself ready, Bobby says 1 more day, typically.
Yep.
And sometimes 2.
Braves have an early lead on a Jason Hayward sacrifice fly here in the second. And low hangs tough with an 0-2 count.
Derek had a base hit, solid base hit in his last start in St. Louis. I think that was off Chris Carpenter. So maybe he can drive in a run here.
Lots of pitches for Bud Norris.
Yeah, he had a 10-pitch first inning. Got the Braves in order. And this will be number 37 now.
Grounded up the middle. Keppinger will flip to Matsui, and that will retire the side. Braves score first, lead by a run as we move to inning number 3. At the ballpark, and the Braves have scored first with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. I'm Chip Carey. It's Bark in the Park Day.
That was just awesome. Dog got a bite, and then the owner got a bite.
I'm not sure I'm doing that with my dogs.
Just a good weenie for a wiener dog.
Here's Michael Bourne to start things off. Boy, the Braves have handled him. And a looping line drive is out of play, foul for a strike. Bourne took a called third strike, leading off today's game.
He did something yesterday that I know not so many years ago he would have had a little problem in the dugout when he got back.
Up the middle, Omar can't handle. He was rushing to throw out the speedy base runner, and Bourne's aboard to start the third.
He reached yesterday, and then on what was apparently a hit-and-run play, he got hung up between first and second. David Ross threw him out. And then because Keppinger didn't swing at the ball and hung him out to dry, he took his helmet off and walked practically all the way back to the dugout and really showed up his teammate, in my opinion. That wouldn't have gone over real big not so many years ago.
No, not at all.
Gloss almost handcuffed on Derek Lowe's pickoff attempt at first. Now the point you were making earlier, Tommy, about do you test McCann and Lowe here? You've got Bourne with 10 stolen bases in a one-run game at first and nobody out.
I would venture to say he will. See, Derek tried to quicken up a little bit right there.
Yeah, here's what happened yesterday on national TV. He got tagged out after he got caught in a rundown, and then helmet off, mumbling and walking basically almost all the way to the dugout, and a clear sign that he was upset with Keppinger.
Well, frustrating times for Houston, no doubt about it. They're 8-15. They're 5 games under 500 at home. They're 7.5 games behind the Cardinals and just not hitting a lick. They've scored 3 runs in the first 2 games of this series, and that's about their average per game. 3 runs, that's it. One ball, 2 strikes. Braves need a good start from Derek Lowe. This is his 6th start of the year. He's had 1 quality start out of his first 5. And of all the Braves starters, he's been the man that's received the most run support. He's getting over 4 runs per game. Braves would love to see him take this thing into the 7th or deeper. Bouncing ball towards short. They'll go to second, and that is all. Bourne a step late. He comes up holding his right hip. Hard slide, but the Braves force him for the first out. Now it's time for a money and energy saving bright idea from Georgia Power. Set your thermostat to 78 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. Go to GeorgiaPower.com for more energy saving tips. Georgia Power, a Southern company.
What was the game time temperature today?
85.
Really? That's a warm one. That breeze making it feel a little better today. But I'm ready for summertime. I don't know about you guys. I'm tired of the cool, wet weather.
Yeah.
Let's ease into summer, though. Let's not get too hot too soon.
1 strike. Spoken like a true Massachusetts native. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Real New Englander there. He jumped right out there, didn't he?
To Carlos Lee. Lee rifled a single past Chipper Jones, who never saw the ball, lost it in the shirt sleeves. That after Carlos had a very painful at bat, fouling a ball off his body, and now another line drive into left. So he's 2 for 2. Again, to Joe's point, this is an Astro club that's fared very well against Derek Lowe.
And it's something else, Tom, that in his last or most recent starts, I'll say last 2 or 3 for Derek, there's been some suggestions that he doesn't pitch inside enough, and at least the 2 singles for for Carlos Lee, he's kind of hanging out over the plate. Certainly evidence there.
Yeah, that's always a delicate balance of pitching in enough, not pitching in enough, and Derek clearly is a guy that likes to use his sinker on the outer half of the plate against both lefties and righties. But you're right, both of those base hits right there, a little bit too good of an approach to an outside pitch, which leads you to believe that Carlos isn't too worried about the inner half of the plate.
Lance Berkman bounces towards second. The Braves get 1, and a good hard slide by Lee gives Omar Infante no chance to make a throw to first. That keeps the frame alive for Hunter Pence. First and third, 2 out.
And you don't want to get in the way of Carlos Lee if he's trying to get to the bag. So good play by Infante just to move.
And justifiably, Lee gets the high five. That's how you're supposed to play the game. And now Pence with 2 outs will try to tie this game. Pence with 7 RBIs. He bounced out his first time up. 1-0 Braves in front on a Hayward sac fly. Joe had a great nickname for this guy, Tommy, called Pence the Praying Mantis.
As soon as you said it, I knew that's what you were going to say. You're absolutely right.
Doesn't he? Just gangly and arms and legs.
Yeah, he throws a lot of appendages at you while he's out there in the field. Maybe not the prettiest of things that you'll see either in the batter's box or in the outfield, but he gets the job done. He's had a pretty good career so far.
And that was my point. It's not pretty and unorthodox, but it works. Got a bit of an odd swing, but he's got power. He can run. Throws a little sidearm, but he's got a pretty good arm from right field.
We know he can jump.
Yep.
Took away a home run from Hayward. And this kid's already an all-star. Made the all-star team last year, hitting 25 home runs for Houston.
You almost, though, have to qualify that in a way. I mean, if you're a right-handed hitter in Houston and you hit 25 homers, it's like being a left-handed hitter in New York these days.
Bouncing ball toward third. Chipper's got that. The throw to second in time. Lowe had the sinker working. He protects a 1-0 lead, and the top of the order coming up here in Atlanta. On to a 1-run lead as we head to the home half of the third inning. This is Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South. It's brought to you by your Greater Atlanta Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. Nate McLouth, Martin Prado, then Chipper Jones set to start things off against Bud Norris. And you know, big Braves fan Jack Kennedy, who's celebrating his 92nd birthday today, is hopeful that Nate McLouth can pick up his first hit of the day today.
That's if he's watching. He probably might be watching the Hawks. Who knows?
Whatever he's watching, he's got an oxygen tank.
Yes.
Right there, but
exactly right. No balls and a strike to Nate McLouth, who popped out his first time up. Good cut. You seen some improvement from McLeod?
Have. His swing's a little more level than it was. He's aggravated it himself right here for missing that pitch. He got a good one to hit. But he's like Cabrera. He's beginning to come around. And so much of it goes to confidence. I mean, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, if you have a little success to build on, it makes a world of difference for your next at bat or your next game.
Did he go? Nope. This may sound like a silly question. McLeod had his eyes checked, had contact lenses prescribed for this season. Do you have to relearn how to hit with new eyesight?
No. I don't think so. I think you're still seeing the ball.
He'll see a new bat in his next at bat. Norris sawed him off.
I think you're still seeing the ball out of his hand the same way you did. Whether or not it's as sharp or if it's sharper, can't tell you. Only Nate can answer that one.
Can't imagine that better eyesight would be a bad thing, would it?
No. Always looking for any edge you might get.
Well, the reason I bring it, he hit a $118 this spring and is hitting a $180 now. So something wasn't working for him starting in March.
The only thing that I would suggest that might be occurring with contacts would be that the ball sometimes looks like a tennis ball, a little furry, not distinct and clear.
Martin Prado, the batter, flied out his first time up. I'll say this for Nate. He's really kept his wits about him during this extended streak of rough offensive work. He even joked about it. He said, I tried everything, even to make sure I was putting the right lens in the proper eye.
I'm sure he has tried everything.
Ball two, 2 balls and a strike.
We were talking earlier today about Jason Hayward and how he doesn't swing at first pitches very often. In fact, only about 11% of the time does he swing at the first pitch, but that's not the lowest on the team. The lowest percentage of first pitch swings belongs to this guy, Martin Prado. Dave Baker looked it up, and Martin only swings at the first pitch 9% of the time.
Well, he's just patient enough. He leads the league in hitting. Upstairs, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think there's a different dynamic, too, though. When you have a guy like this, who's more of a contact hitter, put the ball in play, line drive kind of guy, there's, you know, I think the comp becomes less relevant with a guy like this. You know, with a guy like Jason, who you want to drive the ball, who you're looking for some home runs out of, you know, unless he starts to prove to be an outstanding off-speed or breaking ball hitter that he's typically going to start to see deeper in the count, you want him jumping on some of those early fastballs that he's got a chance to put in play and put in play hard.
Whereas Martin's looking for a way to get on. Good cut. This guy's throwing 94, 95 on a consistent basis. When his ball's down, he's actually throwing a little harder.
Yeah, the scouting report we got on Norris was good arm but inefficient. That's reflected in the pitch count. This will be his 50th in the game. And it was a good one. 2 outs. So Chipper's up with the bases clear. And have you ever dreamed of having on-field access for Braves batting practice? The Braves VIP batting practice field pass is not only a great experience for you and your family, but it's a unique way of entertaining clients or rewarding employees. For more details, visit Braves.com.
Told you guys Friday night, you fans, you need to check that out. It's a lot of fun being able to watch the Braves hit. Especially guys like Chipper and Jason Hayward, and seeing how sharply they hit the ball on a consistent basis off the hard-throwing Chino Catahia and Glenn Hubbard, Eddie Perez.
Rounded toward first. Berkman a step to his right. And Norris has a quick and easy 1-2-3 home half of inning number 3. sacrifice fly in the second inning, and he just missed hitting it out of the ballpark. And Atlanta, with an early lead, trying to sweep away the Astros, and a big road trip coming up. We'll race to our nation's capital for a 3-game set with the Washington Nationals, a weekend series with the Phillies. You know all about Ryan Howard, Shane Victorino and the boys, and then the Milwaukee Brewers in Miller Park on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. That's our AirTran upcoming road schedule for the Braves.
About Giovanni Gallardo's game yesterday against the Padres. Pitching for the Brewers, Matt Latos had fired, I think, 25 consecutive shutout innings, and then he gave up a homer to Gallardo, the pitcher, who struck out a ton of guys in 7 innings. I think he struck out 11 in 7 innings for the win.
Yeah, Milwaukee not scoring many runs, beat the Padres 2-1 yesterday. And the Brewers having trouble with that bullpen. Trevor Hoffman has, at the ripe old age of 42, blown a lot of saves in the first month of the season. In Milwaukee, 4 games under 500, 6 games behind the Cardinals in the National League Central Division. So we'll see them, our third of 3 stops on the upcoming trip.
You guys saw San Diego. Are they playing over their heads right now, or what do you?
You know what? They clobbered the Braves, their home opener, scored 17 runs, I think. And
that was a record, you know.
Yes, let's not go there, Chip. And the Braves came back and handled them with relative ease, I'll say, the next 2 days. Right. And it was right after that that the Padres got red hot, and I think most of it was from their good pitching, good starting pitching.
And they're doing this without Chris Young, who's still hurt.
Yeah.
They've got power arms in that bullpen. You mentioned Matt Latos, young fireballer for the Padres. San Diego, 3rd in the National League in ERA this year. They've already thrown 5 shutouts this season.
That answers the question how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And the way they're playing, I mean, everybody keeps saying, well, when are they going to trade Adrian Gonzalez? He's got another 1.5 years on his contract. They're in first place. They can't trade him, can they?
No, I wouldn't think so. You know how good the Giants pitching is. The team that over there that makes you scratch your head and wonder if they're in trouble is L.A.
Ground ball hit towards second. Pedro Feliz will be an easy out. Good start to the Houston 4th. Yeah, the Dodgers don't have Manny Ramirez. Rafael Furcal has been hurt. Their starting pitching staff has been a mess. Vicente Padilla was their opening day starter. And now Ned Coletti, the general manager, has been talking on the Dodgers flagship station about how poorly some of those young players have been playing and naming them by name. So it's not a happy situation out in Los Angeles by any stretch. Matt Kemp was the man he called out. His agent, Dave Stewart, not real happy about that. 1 ball, no strikes to Kaz Matsui.
One of those guys out there is dating Rihanna, weren't they?
That was him.
Was it him? He had a busy winter.
Yeah.
1-0 count. So the Dodgers are in last place. The Rockies have lost 3 in a row. They're 4 back and injury riddled. It's a tightly packed race in the National League West.
I like it when teams do that, though, and get off to good starts when everybody's already written them off and thrown Bud Black, the manager, under the bus, saying he's a candidate to be the first manager fired and all that stuff. So good for the Padres.
Yeah, I don't understand that. You go into a season with absolutely 0 expectations. Everybody thinks you're going to stink, so we're going to fire the manager. I mean, what? Yeah. Who's going to come in there and change anything?
Right. It's not like he put the roster together.
No.
One ball, 2 strikes. Base is clear for Matsui, who has one of Houston's 3 hits.
There's that pitch right there we're talking about. He's just seems to fall off towards first base a little bit too much to hit that side of the plate as consistently as he wants to.
And is that a product of trying to make a perfect pitch, that you're afraid that you're not going to create enough movement naturally?
I think that's the part of it. I think he's trying to help his movement a little bit. And when you're not real sure about your ball moving the way you want it to get to a spot, you tend to try to help it a little bit. And you either get under it, or in his case, coming off the mound a little bit.
In the air to center, McLeod throws and can't get there in time. So a 2-strike hit for Matsui. He's got a perfect day working, and now J.R. Tolles comes up.
And see, everything up to that point looks good. And then when he lands, you see him kind of. That pitch he stayed on it pretty good.
Actually, he did, yeah.
The one before it, it was almost like he was at his finish before he had let go of the ball. And when that happens, your arm drags a little bit, and you don't get on top of it, and you get more of a lateral movement.
Double play ball. There's one. Nice turn. Nice inning for Lowe. Way to go, Tommy. A pitching coach in the making. Bottom of the 4th inning. Braves look to add on.
South is brought to you in part by AT&T, by Dodge, and by Geico. Good pitching matchup here in Atlanta. Derek Lowe and Bud Norris. Braves trying to put a feather in their cap and sweep away Houston, looking for their first sweep of the year and get a little momentum, fellas, before a big road trip starts in Washington on Tuesday.
Talk about how hard it is to have gone on a week-long road trip, only home for 3 days, especially on the weekend, and then go right back out for 10.
It's tough. On one hand, you'd almost rather just stay on the road than have to come back. But in this case, having such a tough road trip like they did, I'm sure everybody was welcome to get back here and get in front of the home fans. And so far, it's been a good dose.
McCann right back up the middle. Norris got a piece of that, but not enough to prevent an infield hit. So twice in this game now, the Braves have put the leadoff man on. McCann did it in the second and came around and scored.
This guy's got some good movement on his fastball. He slings it a little bit. Gets a little sinking action. Mad at himself for not making the play there, or maybe just leaving it alone.
Yeah, he's got a really good slider too, but he's pitched behind on the count so much that he can't get to it very much. But it's funny, just watching him pitch. You look at Derek Lowe's delivery in comparison. There's a lot of moving parts in Derek's motion. You could see where he would get out of whack sometimes. But with this kid, it's hard to believe that throwing strikes is part of his issue because his mechanics are so simple. It's not really like you can point at one thing and say, "Hey, you need to fix this," because everything is pretty compact and pretty simple.
Troy Gloss, the hitter, he singled his first time up. And that pops away from Tolles. McCann moves up 90 feet. It's a wild pitch.
Tough one for Tolles to handle there. Bounced well out in front of the plate. Couldn't keep it in front of him. So a break for Atlanta.
That takes the double play out of consideration for Gloss. His average up to 231. He checked his swing. Ball 2. Braves enter play today, 2 games behind the Marlins for 4th in the East. Florida's playing the Nationals today and behind Josh Johnson, beating them 6-2. Hanley Ramirez hit a 3-run homer. Nationals 2 games over 500 after 24 games.
Yeah, but they haven't had to play the Bravos yet.
That's it. Looked on the computer this morning to do some research for the game and saw Nationals may be ready to promote Strasburg. And immediately you think, wow, he's coming to the big club? Well, no, not yet. The story said he's probably going to go to AAA on Monday. So we won't get to see Strasburg in that series. We will face Livan Hernandez, Luis Attilano, and Scott Olson Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights.
Livan Hernandez 3-1 with a 0.87 ERA.
What a pickup he's been.
He can pitch. You know, he's not always the most pleasant thing to look at out there, but he's usually works fast and throws strikes.
So Kenshin Kawakami will face him on Tuesday. Braves push Jair Jurgen's next start back to Saturday in Philadelphia, so everybody stays on their normal turn in rotation. And another walk. 3 of those for Norris in the game. And fellas, that was one of your keys. Make him work, and he has issued 3 walks now.
Yeah, he's just, like we said, the base on balls has certainly been his nemesis. Great stuff. Got to find a way to harness it a little bit more in the strike zone.
Jason Hayward, a sacrifice fly deep to right to chase Hunter Pence to the warning track. So 21 runs batted in for the McDonough masher, Jason Hayward.
Is that what you've dubbed him?
No, it just came out. I just said that. 25 RBIs, by the way, leads the National League, and Hayward's going to add another one. Base hit the other way. McCann around third will score without a play. Hayward's trying for 2, and he'll make it with a slide. A hustle double. And look at Troy Gloss standing at third base. Big applause for Jason Hayward, who doubles home the second run of this game.
Up to 22 RBIs. And this is what is really amazing to me about Jason Hayward. He hits a ground ball here, Tom. Granted, with the infield playing up the middle for a possibility for a double play, they're a little bit out of position, but he turns that ground ball into a double. Kaz Matsui had no idea that he was coming to second base.
No, he didn't, and he turned it into a double right out of the box. He didn't take for granted that was just a ground ball single. He came hard out of the box and saw where they were playing him in the outfield and the infield and realized he had an opportunity to try and make it a double.
Infield in for Melky Cabrera, who walked his first time up.
First pitch swing too, right, Chip?
And 2 RBIs for Hayward. And it's a 2-0 Braves game. Slap toward short, and that's off the glove of Kippinger. Another run will score. Hayward will stop at third. Again, we told you about Houston's defense. It has been offensive this year. First and third, it's a 3-0 game.
Their rookie Tommy Manziel's been playing shortstop a lot, but he got hit in the throat with that ground ball Friday night, and it's been Keppinger at shortstop the last 2 days. And that ball was hit sharply, but one the Astros needed to get knocked down because neither one of the runners were going to advance. They're going to score at a hit.
So give Cabrera his 4th RBI. The Braves have a big inning working. 2 on, 2 in, and nobody out for the shortstop, Omar Infante. The big inning for Atlanta yesterday was the 5th. With the help of some shaky Houston defense, they put a big number on the board. Here in the 4th, a chance for the same. Braves won 10-1 yesterday, leading 3-0 here.
Wouldn't expect Cabrera to be running here with the pitcher on deck. Chance to pitch around Omar. Chance to pitch around him if Melky were successful stealing second. Especially the way Omar's swinging the bat, too. Give him a chance to plate another run.
3-game hit streak, 5 hits in his last 13 at bats. And Norris, who has a very good pickoff move, showed it off there.
Real quick feet.
I mean, he is built just like a prototypical drop and drive power guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Hot shot. 4-0. Power meets power. Infante, a 4-game hit streak. That brings home Jason Hayward. Cabrera stops at second.
This has become Omar's alley over there. You make a mistake, he loves pulling the ball, and he's a real good fastball hitter, and countless times he'll turn on the ball and hit it between short and third like he just did for the RBI. He's just a solid major league player, and Braves are very happy to have him.
I think, too, lost in the big comeback in the second half of the year for the Braves was getting that guy back. We've talked a lot about Prado taking over at second and Escobar moving to a run-producing spot. Omar Infante was critically important to this team when he came back from that broken hand. And now Derek Lowe a chance to bunt runners up. And Lance Berkman almost able to shake hands at contact. Yeah. Strike one.
You know, Derek tried to cross him up right there. Got to try to bunt it behind him, back on his throwing side. It's always a tough play right here. You know, as a pitcher, you got, and Berkman is so good at doing this. You got him bearing down on you. It's always, at least for me, it was always tougher to bunt it to the side of the field that you're hitting from. So Derek's got to get that ball down the third base line.
Popped up.
Oh, we should draw. Yep, you got to run, Derek. You got to run.
There's one. The throw to third. They will tag out Cabrera. And that's an odd double play. Cabrera and Infante are out. Infante on the force play. Cabrera on the tag play, and Lowe's at first. That was not called an infield fly.
That's about as good a way to screw up a first and second no-out situation as there is. And the Astros played it right.
Yeah, they played it perfectly. I can't tell you how many times you would see that happen during the course of the year, and you'd be screaming for the infielder to drop the ball, and they don't. And that's why you do it. And you couple that with the fact that Derek didn't run getting out of the box, which they really had a chance at a triple play right there with him not running.
We really don't need to get into the infield fly situation.
No.
It's laid back Sunday.
Laid back Sunday.
So runner at first with 2 outs.
Especially with a 4-0 lead.
Yeah. Well, as we all know. Nate McLeod, the hitter.
I will guarantee you one thing.
Yes.
That will never happen to Derek Lowe again. That happened to me one time in my career in a spring training game where I did it against the Expos. Popped it up. I was so mad, and I watched Tim Wallach just let it drop, and I was like, oh, my God, I got to run. And it never happened again.
It does only take once, doesn't it? 2 balls and a strike. How many hours in spring training do you guys work on bunting?
All the time. And look, that's not an easy play. Like I said, with Berkman bearing down on you, you know you got to get that ball to the third base line. And inevitably, when you pop it up, you're so mad that the last thing you're thinking about is running.
And that's why the best defense to me against a bunt situation is a guy who can throw 94, 95, because it's so hard to soften the bunt and place it. And that's exactly what Norris was doing. He was firing it.
And I'm sure Berkman watched Jeff Bagwell for all those years come charging from first. He was one of the best guys at snagging that bunt, throwing and getting the lead runner at third base.
Bagwell was an old third baseman, though. He liked being in the middle of the play.
Full count to Nate McClough. Braves have scored 3 times here in the fourth, lead the game by 4. And Nate goes fishing and is down on strikes. Productive inning for Atlanta. 3 hits and a walk. Make it 4 hits and a walk. And after 4, it's Atlanta 4, Houston nothing. Horizon by Georgia Power and by Blimpie. Top of another 5th here in Atlanta. 4-0. Braves have the lead, and we'd like you to buy some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. They're not needed with this ticket deal. The AM PM all-you-can-eat seats include all the hot dogs, peanuts, popcorn, nachos, hamburgers, french fries, chicken wings, soda, and more. Visit Braves.com/all-you-can-eat and get your tickets now.
Clavin family could come to that and completely wipe out
the whole section, right?
Yeah. The vendors would be exhausted.
Yeah, that might not be an economically smart move if the Glavins were here a lot.
Bud Norris stays in the game, trailing by 4 runs. Derek Lowe's scattered 4 hits. All 4 of those Houston safeties have been singles. That's a trend that continues for the Houston club. And ball 2 to Bud Norris.
I was surprised to see him hitting for himself. Given their lack of runs.
Yes and no. They might need the innings more than they need the runs.
Yeah.
They might have a short bench too. Don't know if Manzella can play.
That's a good point.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, Brad Mills is a terrific baseball man. He was a teammate and roommate of Terry Francona at Arizona. Bench coach for Tito with the Red Sox. They won the World Series and went there a lot. Was his first base coach in Philadelphia. But he's, I think, overseeing what's going to be a rebuilding effort for that Houston club. There's an interesting stat on this Houston team in the Baseball America handbook. For so many years, the foundation for the Braves' championship runs in the East and the World Series was built through their farm system. The Astros have had, in the last 12 years, one first-rounder reach the big leagues. One in 12 years, after Brad Lidge in 1998.
That's not a good ratio.
In fact, they didn't even sign their first-round choices that they made in 2007. They gave up their picks in the first 2 rounds to sign free agents, then didn't sign their 3rd, 4th, and 8th picks.
Yikes.
Eighth pitch to the pitcher, and Bud Norris is down on strikes. Tag applied by McCann. 1 out.
See, I can understand how extenuating circumstances might prevent you from signing your first-round pick because of monetary issues, but when you're having meetings with your scouts and you're going over your budget after you don't give up first-round money to somebody, how do you let those other guys get away?
Well, and then you got to wonder about the strategy. If you're not going to sign your picks, not only do you not do that, but you go out and sign big-ticket free agents like Miguel Tejada and Carlos Lee, and you lose your draft picks anyway.
Yeah, you're getting hit. You're getting double-edged sword there.
Yeah. Well, they've got good pieces. It's not like the cupboard's bare here with guys like Berkman. I'm not sure how much longer Lee's contract's for, but I think he's got a couple more years left on it.
At like $18 million.
Yeah, a lot of money. You got Pence in right field. Those are 3 corner guys that are pretty solid.
Well, how about the guy that's their #1 starter, Roy Oswalt?
Say you got 2 pitchers, the kid we see today, and Roy Oswalt that are.
And Wandy. Line drive by Bourne. That's real trouble. This guy can scoot. He's got at least a double. Big turn as Melky hustles it back to the infield. Good job by Cabrera to hold Bourne to a double. He had his sights set on third, but trailing by 4 runs, couldn't risk it.
Ought to include Bourne in that group too, because he provides them speed that a lot of teams don't have at the top of the order. And as I said Friday night, arguably the fastest guy in the league.
And that's saying something. We've seen Jose Reyes play a lot, and I think he made a real good point in New York about Reyes coming back from his knee problems.
Yeah, I think he's lost a little bit. He hadn't lost 2 steps or anything, but I don't think he's quite as quick as he was. I'd like to see a foot race between Bourne, Reyes, and Shane Victorino.
Here's Keppinger with a runner at second. And he's quickly down 2 strikes.
And remember, Bourne came from the Phillies organization, too.
That was part of the Brad Lidge deal. He wasn't going to crack that lineup with Worth and Victorino in the outfield already. And, of course, they had Pat Burrell at the time as well. Driven down the left field line. Lowe can't believe that. That'll be a run-scoring hit for Keppinger. And it's a 4-1 game, back-to-back doubles with 1 out. Boy, did Derek react angrily after Keppinger ripped that baby down the left field line.
Didn't look like it had much on it. I'm not sure what it was. But 87, 88 miles an hour, just, I don't know. Yeah, inner third.
Yeah, well, according to that pitch, the strike zone indicator there, that ball was in off the plate, and maybe that's what Derek can't believe is that he got it in there, and the Keppinger not only took a good swing at it, but was able to keep it fair. A lot of times when you get a ball in that far, you're thinking if they do make contact, they can't keep the ball fair, but Keppinger did a good job keeping that ball fair.
Now you're in the danger part of this Houston lineup. Carlos Lee's 2 for 2. Then it's Lance Berkman, and the lead now 4-1.
It's the danger zone for this lineup in general, but particularly for Derek with the numbers these guys have put up against him. Driven toward left. Cabrera gives ground. Tracks her down.
Lee's pulled the ball 3 times, and Lowe finally gets a break.
That's a big out for him. Something we talked about at the beginning of the game was big innings and how they're costing Derek not only in runs but pitch count, how he's been driven out of the game in the middle parts because of one big inning, it seems like. So maybe he can avoid that here by retiring Lee on that line drive. That'll help.
Yeah, you can keep your bad innings to 1, 2 runs. You're going to be able to manage the game. But when you start having those big innings be 3 and 4 and 5 runs, those are tough innings for you to stay in the game. Number one, but number two, they're tough innings for your team to kind of come back from when you're allowing the other team to score that many runs.
Berkman with 2 outs falls behind with strike 1. Berkman, I guess it's safe to say now the offensive face of this Astros club. Hard to believe he's already 34.
What makes him so tough?
You know what? He doesn't get himself out a lot. Doesn't swing at a lot of bad pitches. And that guy, that's that rare combination of hitting for average and hitting for power. You know, you might beat him in terms of keeping him in the ballpark and not let him hit a home run off you, but he might beat you with 3 or 4 singles in a game. You know, and there's not one way to attack this guy. He's kind of the guy that you've got to go both sides of the plate, change speeds all the time, not double up very often, if at all. And those guys, when they're forcing you to make a bunch of quality pitches, it's hard to do.
Up the middle, Braves had him played absolutely perfectly, and that will retire the side. Lowe gets out of 5th inning trouble. He manages the inning after back-to-back doubles, and the Braves back to work with a 3-run lead.
The Braves hitters, Terry Pendleton, thrilled to see this increase in productivity. This series alone, 3 homers, averaging 6 runs a game compared to the previous 9 games. I'd say during that losing streak, yeah, runs were a little hard to come by.
He can't hit for him.
Nope.
But certainly the Braves much more effective, leading 4-1 now, and aggressive too. A quick swing and a miss for Martin Prado, who has flied out and has struck out.
And again, a rare first pitch swing from Martin.
I think they're listening to us up here.
Might be.
I mean, we do, after all, know everything up here, right?
Well, I was going to ask you.
A lot easier up
well,
here.
Yeah, I was going to. You were 60 feet 6 inches away. Now you're about 150 feet away. It must look a lot easier, doesn't it?
It does look a lot easier up here, I'll tell you.
Fly ball, shallow right center. Bourne with blazing speed makes a running catch. And dives to the turf and hangs on. Speed never slumps, and Prado's bid for a hit is taken away by Michael Bourne.
That's a great play. That was just a sensational jump on a ball that was just kind of dumped off the end of the bat. And like Andrew Jones, Bourne can play a little shallower than most, gets a good jump on the ball and able to rob Martin of a hit.
Yeah, he closed the ground on that ball in a hurry.
He liked it too. Did you see Bourne?
Yeah. Fired him up.
Here's Chipper. He's 0 for 2. His average now down to 209. And in his long career, this is the worst start for Chipper Jones at the plate. Dave Baker did some work on Chipper Jones' numbers. It's been a long time since he's been this low. In fact, Chipper in 2006 hit 250. As of May 1, he's at 215 at the start of today's play. And his career average, 322 through May 1st. 3 balls and a strike.
Good to see Evander at the ballpark today.
He knows a thing or two about hits, huh?
Did you guys watch the fight last night?
Negative.
Boring.
What fight?
It was Mayweather and Sugar Shane Mosley. Mayweather won a unanimous decision after Mosley won the first couple of rounds, and Mayweather took over from there, and it was a boring fight.
Boring fight?
Yeah. Mosley's 38 now. I think he needs to start making some other plans.
Now, Evander Holyfield didn't have too many boring fights, did he?
Nope.
If he did, I'm not going down to tell him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Here's
a lot of action in Evander's.
McCann. Did that clip him on the way by? Yep, it did. So 4 walks and a hit batsman for Norris. McCann's perfect day at the plate continues, and more run-scoring chances in the Braves. 5th for Troy Gloss.
Just a little skipper off either his pant leg or his foot.
If you're going to hit somebody, Tommy, get your money's worth, right?
That's what I'm saying. When that happens, you kind of feel cheated. Now, not that I ever threw hard enough really to hurt anybody, but if you're going to hit him, you might as well. You want to get at least a little bit of flesh, not knock a button off the jersey.
You want to hear a little thump?
Yeah.
At least see a grimace, right?
Yeah.
Now here's Gloss. Troy has singled, walked, and scored today. Braves scored a single run in the second. That was on a Hayward sacrifice fly. They plated 3 in the 4th. An opposite field ground ball double by Jason. The big hit in that inning. Strike 1.
Good first pitch breaking ball from Norris. He's been impressive today despite trailing 4-0. He definitely, as advertised, has a good arm.
What's the biggest key, Tommy, in learning on the job like this guy is?
You almost have to get away from what we've talked about where you get so result oriented, because if you're in a team that's struggling, the results are going to be tough to come by.
How hard is that to do? Because, again, you want to win every game you pitch.
It's hard. Again, I can only liken it to my situation. When I came up here, we weren't a good team, and I had the backing of the managers, and I knew I was going to go out there, and it was more about getting better every 5 days than it was necessarily about winning every 5 days. Now, I don't know the dynamic here in Houston, but I'd venture to say this kid figures pretty highly in their plans for the future, and if as long as they feel like he's getting better from start to start, they'll worry a little less about the results.
Base hit left field by Gloss. He is red hot. Chipper stopped at third as Lee came up firing, and the Braves have him loaded with 1 out. Here comes Jason Hayward.
You'd like to get that run back if you're Brian Snitker, but that ball got to Carlos Lee rather quickly, and Chipper had to be held there, especially when you got a guy like Jason coming up behind Troy. Don't run into an out if you don't have to.
Now you're Bud Norris standing on the mound. You've got Hayward red hot. He's pulled a ball to deep right. He's hit a ball the other way through the hole at shortstop. How do you pitch him now with the bases loaded?
And he's taken a few pitches early, and he swung at the first pitch. So, yeah, right now he's not real sure what he's going to see out of Jason Hayward, and that's the important thing for Jason Hayward. He now has Norris on the mound wondering, okay, is he going to swing at the first pitch? Is he not going to swing at the first pitch? Do I want to treat it like he's 0-2 when he gets in the box and maybe throw him a nasty slider, but then I get behind in the count? I can't afford to do that. So he's got a whole host of things going through his mind right now, but I would venture to say his last at-bat, it was a good pitch away. It was a ground ball, which he wants right here. I think he's going to take his chances trying to stay away and get a ground ball out of him if he can versus making a mistake on the inside part of the plate and giving up 2, 3, or 4 runs.
He made a good first pitch slider, swing and a miss to Gloss. Let's see if he starts Jason with a slider.
Norris will stretch with the bases full and 1 out. And it was a breaking ball, strike 1.
And that's part of the maturing process right there, too. I mean, you've got to know as a pitcher, most of the time when these guys get in the box with runners in scoring position, they want to hack. They want to drive that guy in, and that generally means they're going to be aggressive looking for a fastball. So you got to slow the game down a little bit.
I was going to say, that's maybe as big a weapon for you as your own repertoire, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, you've got to know with what you're dealing with when the guy gets in the box, not only from the athletic side of it, but also what they're thinking a little bit. And, yeah, the over-anxiousness, the aggressiveness when guys have runners in scoring position is definitely something as a pitcher you can use to your advantage.
1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and popped back our way. 1-2. Wind starting to shift a little bit now at the ballpark. It was blowing straight out toward the chop house. Flags now above the 755 club blowing toward the Houston dugout. I don't know if that's a sign of changing weather, but the clouds are starting to roll in off to our left.
He got away with tried a backdoor slider there and got away with it.
I'm surprised with his last at bat that Kepinger's still playing him so much to pull in the infield.
I mean, even a ground ball to third, Kepinger's going to have to cover with Matsui so far over in the hole.
So a big hole left side with a 1-2 count.
And it's not like, I think it's too early in his career to really get a book on how much he's going to pull the ball or not pull the ball, particularly on the infield. But I know in the few games that I've watched, I've seen Jason hit just as many balls on the ground to the left side that he has to the right side.
He has, you're right.
Fought off a tough pitch to stay alive at 2-2.
Hey, Evander got that one.
Hope it didn't take a bite out of him.
Oh.
I did laugh, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good souvenir for the family.
I think he said, "Here you go." Two balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, I think 1 too many. Bases loaded, 1 out, 4-1. He held up. Now he's got to throw him a strike.
Well, he doesn't have to, but yeah. I mean, it's pick your poison. Do you want to still try and make a nasty pitch? Get the result you want and maybe walk him, or you want to lay one in there and now you're risking giving up 3 or 4 runs.
Wasn't anything like this kind of a situation, but he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to Prado back in the 3rd inning and struck him out.
Squibbed off the end of the bat. Oh, diving play. Norris has no one to throw to and throws it away. 1 run scores. McCann's coming home and he'll be tagged out. What a play by Norris. No one covered third. He threw it away. Tolles picked up the ball, and the pitcher did his job. Oh, boy, what a wild sequence that plates another run.
It's probably going to have to go as a base hit. Norris only had 1 play after the stop, and that was at third, but there's nobody to throw to. Here's what turned into a big break for Houston, though, was the ball carrying back to J.R. Tolles in such a big way that Brian was a dead duck.
Yeah, and I should have said the catcher Tolles did his job. It wasn't Norris. Handled the carom and hustled back to the plate.
I mean, that really came back hard off the padding. Nothing really Bryant could do except maybe stop getting a run down.
So a 3 RBI day for Hayward. First and second, 2 outs. Braves get that run back and lead 5-1.
And he did go to the breaking ball, didn't he?
Yeah, or maybe a changeup. Something off speed, certainly. I haven't seen him really throw a changeup today, but that was definitely off speed.
1 ball, 1 strike. Melky has walked, singled, and knocked in a run.
It's kind of crazy, but the Astros are still in this ball game thanks to the messed up bunt and that carom back off the wall to Tolles to get McCann.
Two and two. Love to see a 2-out hit here from Melky Cabrera. Braves have 7 hits in total today. Scoring 10 yesterday, the Braves are halfway there in the series wrap-up and trying to sweep Houston.
Lined into right field, a base hit. Gloss will come around and score. Hayward, big strides. They're going to green light him. Matsui's relay is up the line.
That was another case where their defensive positioning might come into question. Hunter Pence was way over in the right center for Melky Cabrera. Now, I know Melky's not a dead pull hitter left-handed, but that ball was hit to straightaway right field, and it rolled all the way to the wall. Oh, and he just picked it up off the ground, too.
Yeah, you're throwing him an off-speed pitch down and in, and typically, you're thinking that ball is going to get pulled if it's put in play. And you're right, Joe, where they were playing, that was, I don't want to say a routine ground ball to right field, but Hunter Pence had to go a long way to get it.
Sure did.
It's double, 2 RBIs. Runner takes third on the throw. That chases Bud Norris, and the Braves have a big lead.
Second and third base, if you're the right fielder, are in line, then you're probably straight away. But look where Hunter Pence is, way over here. And then as a result, on the base hit, he can't get over to cut off what, as Tommy described, was like a routine ground ball base hit to right. They had to go all the way to the wall, and that's what allowed another run to score.
So 2 big offensive innings for the Braves, 3 in the 4th, 3 now here in the 5th. And Bud Norris out of the ball game, with Melky Cabrera responsible for him at third base. Chris Sampson takes over, 11 games for him, and a great story. Chris Sampson, born in Channelview, Texas, was originally drafted by the Astros as a shortstop. Did not play baseball for 3 years after 1 season at A-ball. Was serving as an assistant coach at Collin County Community College in Plano, Texas. Was used as a pitcher in an inter-squad game. Struck out 5 of the 6 guys he faced. Went to a tryout camp and was invited to minor league spring training as a pitcher. And in 2006 made it to the big leagues as a moundsman. And one of his teammates on that club that he coached, his catcher, J.R. Tolles.
How about that? What a story.
And if you need a little more Hollywood to the Hollywood ending, Chris married his wife Heather at home plate at Minute Maid Park.
A little bit like the story of Jim, the left-handed pitcher in the
Jim
movie.
Morris.
Jim Morris,
yeah,
with the Devil Rays at the time. The Devil Rays.
He was he a high school coach, I guess?
Yes.
I was throwing batting practice, and
well, he had pitched in the minor leagues,
right.
and then I think had some arm trouble, and then all of a sudden his arm was just fine.
Nothing wrong with Sampson's arm in the 5th inning. He puts out the fire, but the Braves bats continue to sizzle on a sweltering day in Atlanta. 7-1 is our score. We head to inning number 6. To the 6th inning with this big lead. Derek Lowe's day is done after 5 innings of 6-hit baseball. He's in line to win it.
Yeah, he looked a lot more comfortable out there today. He pitched ahead in the count, much better today. Had, I think, 14 first pitch strikes today. Had the ground ball working. Overall, 84 pitches, 57 strikes. So 2-to-1, 57 strikes, 27 balls. So a 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio, which are all things that you're looking for. You want to see him getting back into the strike zone more often, working ahead in the count more often, and I'm sure part of the equation here today for Bobby is get him out feeling good about himself and turn things over to the bullpen.
And our AT&T call to the bullpen will feature Chris Medlin, who's on for his 11th appearance of the year. 84 pitches for Lowe, and he'll shave over a point off his ERA with today's performance. If the Braves hold on and win this game, he'll go to 4-2 with a 4.64 ERA. So that's moving in the right direction for the Braves. And now Medlin to face Hunter Pence in the 6th inning. Hunter has grounded out twice today.
Chris worked 3 innings in relief of Jurgens the other day in St. Louis after J.J. had to come out in the 1st inning or after the 1st inning. And Chris did a great job on pretty short notice. 3 innings, 2 hits, and a run. He was kind of given a heads up when Jurgens was warming up that he might have to.
Again, it's a hamstring issue for Jurgens, and because of that and the off day tomorrow, the Braves are not really skipping Jurgens as much as they're just moving him back to Saturday so everyone else in rotation can stay on their normal turn. But were something to happen, would Medlin be the first choice as a quote-unquote emergency starter?
I would think he would be. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic for this team right now, because I think you're looking at Medlin and Venters, 2 guys that in the future are going to be starters in this rotation. But I think right now, I think Medlin is probably in a position to extend himself a little bit more than Johnny is.
Might depend on who they're facing, too. If that spot comes up, if it's Milwaukee, Medlin might be the right guy. Or is that supposed to be Philadelphia?
That's Philly.
Then you might think about Venters with all the left-handed hitters.
Well, let's hope that option A is Jurgens and that he's 100%. That's your best choice. And we'll know more as the week moves along. So, chance for Chris to get some more work here. Driven to right. Jason Hayward is there. 1 out. Pedro Feliz the batter. He's 0 for 2. There's some good news. Hawks were winners in their 1st round matchup with the scrappy Milwaukee Bucks. Jamal Crawford had 22 points off the bench, we understand. So Atlanta moves into the 2nd round. Fly ball center field off the bat of Feliz. And now the Hawks get set for a matchup with Atlanta native Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic.
That seemed like a long series. Maybe I'm talking about the Hawks and Bucks. I know it went 7 games, so that's the max. But didn't they have like 3 days off?
Yeah.
Before they went to Milwaukee and played the first game, the first one in Milwaukee. Never heard of that.
Here's Kaz Matsui. He has a couple of hits and down a strike. Marlins 7-3 over the Nationals. That game's in the top of the 8th inning. Cardinals over the Reds 2-0 behind Chris Carpenter. Cubs blanking Arizona 7-0 in the 4th at Wrigley Field today. And back to the mound. Medlin will recover and has a very quick and easy top half of the 6th inning. All Atlanta looking for a sweep.
That was the Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Yeah, they kind of threw me for a loop on that play when they went to second base. I thought they were just going to go around the horn.
Well, that looks comfortable.
Best seat in the house right there, huh? As Jeff Fulcino takes over, 10th game for him. And Chris Medlin will start things off. Boy, a nice, crisp game for Atlanta today. 7 runs on 8 hits. Jeff Blum takes over at short. Keppinger moves to second. Fulcino will bat 7th in Brad Mills' lineup. Talked so much during the losing streak about how frustrating that kind of run can go for a ball club. The other side of it is you win 3 games in a row, you play good baseball. All that's forgotten now. That's in the rearview mirror. Braves win this one, they'll be 11-14. Chance to pick up some ground in the race.
Just doesn't have it just doesn't have that bad feel that you have when you're trying to snap out of those losing streaks, and you just they keep mounting.
Well, you come home, you win 3 in a row, you go out on the road. If you can win, hopefully 3 series, at least 2 of them, then I think you're back at a point where you're feeling good about things and
back where you started. Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And again, positive side of it is this offense has not played at all up to its capabilities when you talk about consistency. It's been a roller coaster ride for them. I've only seen flashes where 1 through 8 has really swung the bat well together. That'll be the fun part when that happens.
Well, assuming that all comes together at one time and the pitching continues doing what it's doing, you get all the pieces of the puzzle going together, then it makes it for a lot of fun. That's when you get going in a streak the other way.
3-2 pitch. And Medlin down on strikes to start the bottom of the 6th inning. Try a Braves flex plan and choose only the games you want. And if your schedule changes, you can exchange those tickets for a different game. Order them, call 404-577-9100 or buy them online at Braves.com/tickets. Next chance for you to see your Braves here in Braves country is May the 14th. 3-team homestand. The Diamondbacks, the Mets, and the Reds will be coming in. Braves are on the road a lot the first 3 months of the season. That could be good news. Second half of the year, they're home a lot. Especially August and September. So get your tickets now. 1 ball, 1 strike to Nate McLouth. Braves also got some good news down on the farm. Jordan Schaefer is close to seeing game action. Braves are going to send him to Rome. Not Italy, but Rome, Georgia in Class A ball. Jordan coming back from that wrist surgery.
I'm sure he's looking forward to getting back out there and seeing how that hand's feeling and getting in some real game action and trying to get his career back on track.
2 balls and a strike to Nate McLouth. Now 2-2. Well, so much excitement about Jordan Schaefer last year with a home run opening day against the Phillies. What we didn't know at the time was he hurt his wrist in that opening series and struggled to hit 200 the rest of the way. High pop fly. Who wants this? Blum, Feliz. And it's Blum making the running catch in front of Carlos Lee for the second out.
Wynn really grabbed that one. So just what Jeff Blum wanted, just coming into the ball game and get tested like that.
Wynn's been swirling all afternoon. 2 outs. Martin Prado is 0 for 3. Michael Bourne robbed him of a hit back in the 5th inning. A running, diving catch.
I guess he's really trying to change the scouting report on him today. That's what, twice now he swung at the first pitch.
It is, and both times it was breaking balls. So he thought he had him set up for an ambush, and they crossed him.
That's down the right field line. Wynn trying to push that ball fair, but no such luck. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Start to say that Hunter's all over the place, having to run gap to gap and to the lines. He'll sleep well on the charter back to Houston tonight.
Well, praying mantises are known for their sleeping abilities. At 35,000 feet. Swing and a miss. Another breaking ball. And it's 3 up and 3 down in the Atlanta 6th. We go to the 7th. After 6 with Joe Simpson and Braves legend Tom Glavine. I'm Chip Carey. Braves finishing up this brief homestand. 2 big innings offensively in the 4th and 5th. And even more importantly for Derek Lowe, he didn't have a big inning on the mound.
No, he didn't have a big inning on the mound. He only walked 1 guy. His ground ball was there, and the ball to strikes ratio was much better today. So yeah, all signs pointing to him at least getting things back on track a little bit, and certainly the homestand continues to get the Braves in general back on track.
J.R. Tolles, the Houston catcher, is 0 for 2. He'll start off the 7th inning today. And down a quick strike. It's 0-1.
Organist here at Turner Field having some fun. Every time Tolles has come to the plate, they play the theme from Dallas for JR.
Oh, 2. But he's not from Dallas. That's the only problem.
Well, he's from Texas.
Yes, that is true. 0-2 the count. Base is clear. Popped behind first. Gloss gives way to Martin Prado. 4 up, 4 down for Chris Medlin. And a good start to our 7th inning. Our Braves broadcast on Sports South is presented in beautiful high definition by H.H. Gregg.
You don't get high def over there when you're working on radio, Tommy. You just get it over here on TV.
Yeah. Thank God I don't just have a face for radio.
Well,
we'll be the judge.
Verdict's still out on that.
Here's Jeff Blum. He's one of the few Houston hitters that's off to a good start. His average over 310, 318 to be exact.
He always seemed to me like a guy that should be playing every day.
I've always liked him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been a real good guy to have on your club for a lot of different teams.
Yeah, he's got a good approach up there. He can hit for some power, line drive. He just seems to always have a good at bat when he's in there.
That ball hit off the end of the bat, but it's going to hang up for Jason Hayward. 2 outs. Blum broke in with Montreal back in 1999. And this is his second go-round with Houston. Went to the Astros in 02 and 03, then Tampa Bay, San Diego, White Sox, back to San Diego, now back to Houston.
What's his career batting average coming in?
What would you guess?
I'd say about 270.
I was going to say 280-ish.
250. 250. His best year was 283. He's done that twice. Most home runs he's ever hit is 14. Most RBIs 53. But he's never really had a ton of at-bats. Deep short. Good pick. Throw, but not in time. Michael Bourne's speed, the only difference on that play.
Man, what a play by Omar to even make that close. Talked about Friday night how he might not have Yunel's range, but man, that was a quick release. Troy thought they got him. May have.
I think they did.
May have. Andy Fletcher getting a little help from Bobby there.
Great play by Omar to give the Braves defense a chance. So runner at first for Jeff Keppinger, who doubled home the only Houston run. That was really the only trouble spot for Lowe. Back-to-back doubles in the 5th inning with 1 out. Ball 1, strike 1.
Yeah, he got right after the double by Keppinger, though, with 1 out, he got the line drive out from Carlos Lee right at Cabrera, more or less right at him, that helped prevent any big inning developing.
Base hit to right by Keppinger. Astros runners will stop at first and second with 2 outs. First 2 hits against Medlin. Now Lee, the batter. He's pulled the ball 3 times, has 2 hits in those 3 at-bats.
Too bad it's a 7-1 game and the Astros are playing it safe right there. I would have liked to have seen Bourne test Jason Hayward right there.
That would have been fun.
But not that I've watched as many games as you, but I think that's about the only thing I haven't seen Jason do yet is throw somebody out, which I'm sure he has. But
watched him throw here the last homestand. Guys were out early and going through some practice throwing to bases, so that was fun to see him cut it loose then.
Out of play, foul.
Bourne took off because there was 2 out. There was no need to make sure the ball dropped, but he was never even thinking about going to third.
Yeah, he pulled up pretty quick.
Well, I think I know how the modern player, and I think I know how you're going to answer this about infield and outfield practice before the game, but do you miss seeing it as a fan? Good changeup, 0-2.
You know my answer.
No, I know yours, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm probably in the same boat as him. I mean, I think it's a part of the game that certainly hasn't gone away. I think it's a part of the game that the purists used to love to come to the field and watch. I mean, look, it's somewhat of a symphony when you watch infield before a game. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in it, and it flows beautifully when you see it right. But, it's all part of the not wearing guys down.
That one skips off the rail and makes its way into the Braves dugout. That one almost clipped Terry Pendleton.
I hope it missed him. Yeah, he's back out.
He's a third baseman. He's got cat-like reflexes. There was no way that ball was going to get Terry. But as a fan, that was one of the best things about coming to a game. You'd see the arms in the outfield. You'd even see teams sometimes pantomime infield practice. The old Gas House gang did with the Cardinals. And speaking of pantomime, that's all Carlos Lee can do. Bat never left his shoulder. And Medlin takes care of business in the top of the seventh.
Ground ball double by Hayward. Omar Infante in the fourth inning helping cap that off with an RBI single. They got three more in the fifth. Bases loaded, nobody out, and this little nubber off the bat of Hayward produced a run. Melky Cabrera plated two more with what should have been a single right, turned into a double. He took third on the throw. And good work by Derek Lowe. He only worked 5 innings, but he threw 84 pitches, 57 of them strikes, and was helped by a double play. Walked 1, struck out 3. He's in line for the win. And one thing's for sure about Derek Lowe, when he goes out there, he's been getting some runs to work with, and today was no different. In 6 starts, 46 runs. The rest of the Braves starters still begging for a little run support.
Yeah, they're begging to get in his slot, I can tell you that.
Beautiful day here, though, at Turner Field, and a good crowd on hand for Bark in the Park Day.
Yeah, shirt sleeve weather. Temperature at 85 at the start of the series wrap up. And now they're making an announcement on the PA system here that the Hawks advance to the second round and will face Orlando in the NBA playoffs. And Chipper Jones will go to work for Atlanta. Chipper 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. A 3 RBI day today for Melky Cabrera. A 3 RBI day today for Jason Hayward.
I don't see anything wrong with Chipper's swing. He's 0 for his last 13. Did walk to start the last rally and 4 for his last 30. But he's taken a good aggressive cut. I haven't noticed that he's had to hit in a lot of 0-2 or 1-2 counts to be a little more defensive. Until now.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't look any different in there. I mean, it doesn't seem as though his stance or any of that stuff ever changes.
No.
Looks like he's seeing the ball okay.
Once in a while he'll get out on that front foot. He'll get a little anxious and kind of take his hands with him when he takes that toe tap, but I haven't seen any signs of that. Staying back in good position.
Two balls, two strikes. Chipper, 428 home runs. His last came April 16th. And that ball hit a long way toward left, but it's playable for Carlos Lee. And Chipper Jones is retired to start the Atlanta 7th.
One thing's for sure, Tommy, these 3 games against Houston, you know, Chipper's dad, Larry's been watching these games from the ranch in Texas. If he picks up on anything, he's going to relay it to Chipper. Nobody knows his swing as well as Chipper's dad, but stayed back there, firm front side. And again, he's behind the count. He had to maybe expand his zone a little bit. Head down. Just no results right now. Head scratching.
Brian McCann scored twice today. He's walked, he's been hit by a pitch, and he has an infield single. And it's really starting to be pick your poison time when you are an opponent facing McCann. Gloss is hot, Hayward's hot. Figure to see Brian boost that batting average up from 246.
See, to me, that's what's making this Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals team, so much more difficult, is that you know you got to deal with Pujols and Holiday, but by moving Ludwig into the 2 spot in their order and the improvement of Colby Rasmus in the 5 spot, man, oh man, there's not too many soft spots in there through the middle of their order, and that's what the Braves are hoping happen to them.
And we saw David Freese, too, the St. Louis kid, have a 6 RBI game against the Braves. And Brian swinging for the downs will have a seat. That is the 3rd strikeout for Fulcino, 2 away in the 7th.
Box Tracks is provided by Sherwin-Williams, painting the corners. And it's not like Fulcino had to paint too many corners there. Brian was hacking.
Yeah, Brian went up there with an aggressive mindset, to say the least, at that at bat.
So 2 are away. Here's Troy Gloss. He's 2 for 2, a walk, and 2 more runs. Another shot off the mask of J.R. Tolles, strike 1.
You know, even though I'm, 150 feet or so further away from where I used to be up here?
165 to be exact.
I can still hear the bullpen phone ring.
Can you?
Yeah.
Is it just as loud?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think it was a little louder out there because it was never a sound you wanted to hear.
Well, that tunnel, that bullpen tunnel is pointed right at the mound, so it was all channeled right at you.
No balls, 1 strike to Troy Gloss.
Up to Lofty, 241.
So he's put on 20 points today. Florida goes to the 9th, leading 9-3 over the Nationals. That was Josh Johnson that started that game. Washington jumped out in front 2-0 early, but a Hanley Ramirez home run put the Marlins in front to stay. Mets play the Phillies Later on, that'll be Johan Santana and Jamie Moyer. Battle of left-handers. That starting pitching has been awfully good, although Roy Halladay beat Mike Pelfrey yesterday.
Pretty good matchup this stage of the season with both those guys off to great starts.
Yeah.
Kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, though, style-wise there.
No question.
Two balls, two strikes. Bases clear, seventh inning. And that's in the dirt. Gloss swings over the top. And that will retire the side. Fulcino's done a nice job in relief. He struck out 4 men in 2 innings, but his Astros on the short end in Game 3. Second man in relief of Derek Lowe, who went 5. Chris Medlin went 2, allowed 2 hits, and struck out 1.
Takashi snapped a little dry spell he had been in. He'd given up runs in 2 straight outings until an outing in St. Louis where he had a very good inning of work, so he's back on track.
Braves bullpen in April went 3-2 with a .372 earned run average. They have yet to give up an earned run in their first 4 innings and a third in the month of May, including today's performance from Chris Medlin. So Lance Berkman first up, and it's popped up foul for a strike. Berkman has walked, bounced out twice.
Is it too late to have one of those snow cone things brought up here?
It didn't look like there was much snow left in them.
Yeah. Might hit the spot today.
Yeah. High ball 1. Crowd today of 25,665. Many have braved the downtown connector with this game seemingly in hand, 7-1.
You know, if you're a vendor, when you come to the ballpark to work, unless you get assigned a certain product, I think I'd be kind of checking out the weather on the way in. Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold?
I think he's got the best deal right there. The lemonade, frozen lemonade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if it's 30 degrees, that's not so good. You know, you're going to need a little hot chocolate or something warm that the fans are going to want.
And we saw that in Frisco. They have the Ghirardelli chocolate dispensers for the hot chocolate. But they wear it on a backpack.
Oh.
And a little nozzle, kind of like the old beer keg, and just fill up a cup right at your seat. As Berkman down on strikes, Saito takes care of Houston first baseman. What did they charge for the hot chocolate out there?
About $19.95.
Yeah. It wasn't cheap.
Seriously, it's about $6 or $7 for a cup of hot chocolate, I think. But that's a good call today if you're a vendor, is get something that'll be nice and cool.
Look, there you go. There's plenty of them left.
Yeah. Where is he?
Here's Hunter Pence.
There he is. Down the left field line.
Yeah, he's walking the wrong way. Otherwise, I'd offer to buy. Doggone it. Pence at 216. 0 for 3 today. It's not been a fun trip for Houston. That's just the way we like it. Braves in command of this ball game. Trying to go to 8-4 at home.
Well, look at their lineup in this series. Berkman's 0 for 5, didn't play in the first game. Carlos Lee broke out today, went 2 for 4. That makes him 3 for 10 in this series. But Pence is 1 for 9. Felice 1 for 10. The middle of their order has been neutralized.
And frankly speaking, the top of the order too. Although Bourne and Keppinger today have 4 hits. First 2 games they didn't do much of anything.
Yeah, you'll take your chances though, giving up hits to those top 2 guys if you can control those middle 4 guys.
Two balls and a strike. Marlins do beat Washington. That's a final now, 9-3. Be interested to see what Jorge Cantu did in that game. He has a hit in every game that Florida has played this year with the exception of 1. 2-2. We'll see the Marlins a little later on this month. In a very strange schedule. Play a lot of games outside the division and don't face the Marlins for the first time until May 25th.
That's odd.
But we'll see them a lot in July and a lot in September as the schedule then does turn toward divisional play. The only 3 games in September that the Braves play outside the National League East will be the Pirates on the road for 3 and 4 with the Cardinals.
Last 3 weeks of the season, the Braves are all in LA's East games, including 6 of their last, 6 of their last 12 against the Phillies.
So you've got your fate firmly within your grasp. You play well within the division, you're going to have a real good shot at postseason play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sunday hop to short. Infante continues his good work defensively.
I think that was one of the things, sorry, Chip, that helped the Dodgers last year in the West was they just dominated their own division. And you might remember, I think they were at one point 9-0 against the Rockies, maybe even worse than that.
And they were able to play good baseball without Manny Ramirez, who was suspended for 50 games.
Hello, Juan Pierre.
Yeah, who's now in Chicago and really having a tough time with the White Sox. Pedro Feliz bats with bases empty and 2 out. Tip your cap to Andrew Jones. He's hit 8 home runs for the White Sox, by the way. We'll see Ozzie Guillen's club in interleague play. That'll be 3rd week of June. One ball, 1 strike.
I wonder if anybody in Chicago has noticed that, though, with the Blackhawks in the playoffs. Anybody paying attention to baseball yet?
They were today after the Blackhawks got smoked last night.
Well, you have the circus on the north side of town that continues, and really it's kind of a circus on the south side too.
Bruins win last night, Tommy?
They won in overtime yesterday. Yes, Mark Savard scored a big goal in his first game back.
Popped up. And now Feliz, a 2-2 count.
Kind of an odd number, 77, huh? I don't know that I've seen too many of those.
No, but he's been, I was talking Friday night, he was 7 in San Francisco and he was 7 with the Phillies, and Biggio's number 7 has been retired there.
He didn't call Craig and see if he could use it?
I guess not. Or if he did, he got a negative.
2-2 pitch. And a high fastball retires Pedro Feliz. 3 up, 3 down for Takashi Saito. Hot dog, Braves in command, 7-1.
Half of the 8th inning, and time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast and a salute to the Braves starting pitching in this series. Tommy Hansen was brilliant in the first game, beating the Astros 4-2. And then Tim Hudson yesterday got a lot of runs to work with, only gave up 1 run, and Derek Lowe today only gave up 1 run in his 5 innings of work. So how about that? Astros in this series only 18 for 92 with 4 runs scored total. Started with the starting pitching. Those guys were all very good.
Well, being the biased starting pitcher that I am, I would say it always does.
So Jason Hayward a chance to add to a very impressive total today. 3 RBIs, a couple of hits, and a couple of runs scored. And his average up to 275 as Houston into its bullpen again with big right-hander Brandon Lyon for the 12th time.
Well, Chino did a good job. 4 strikeouts and 2 innings for him.
Yeah, he threw the ball well.
Brandon Lyon was signed as a free agent. He was supposed to be the closer in Detroit last year and really had trouble. As we look at Jason Hayward's Airtran home run total for rookies, far and away ahead of Tyler Colvin of the Cubs. Lyon saved 26 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2008. Had a good ERA, had a winning record in 65 games with the Tigers, but only 3 saves in Detroit last season.
That's odd because they had all kinds of problems keeping people healthy at the end of the game.
Was much better in the second half of the season. But for whatever reason, it just did not work out for Brandon Lyon in Detroit.
Painted that corner at the knees.
Full count. High towering fly ball to left that Carlos Lee should catch. And Hayward's perfect day by the boards, but still 2 for 3 and the first out in the 8th. Melky's perfect at the plate. He's walked, he's singled, he's doubled, he's knocked in 2. Well, you get run production from Your 6, 7, 8 guys, that's the sign you're having a good day. And those are the men that have driven home all 7 Atlanta runs this afternoon.
That's a very good sign. Base hits aside, that production's outstanding.
Popped up. And J.R. Tolles said Pedro Feliz a little late getting over to the Astros dugout. That ball stayed on the field of play. Nobody could get there, however.
Yeah, but J.R. had to navigate his way around that corner to try to get there. Feliz was not anywhere near close enough to get to it, but having to run around that corner to try to get to it caused Tolles a second or two.
Those are the new SunTrust Club seats behind home plate. So Melky Cabrera gets another swing on the house. And pops another up to the left side. Who wants this? It is Jeff Blum, the shortstop, and he puts it away for the second out.
I can see Omar get another hit here. He's already got 1 today and an RBI, but had a big 3-hit day yesterday. Follow it up with another 2-hit day would make him feel real good going into Washington.
And again, we don't know, but there's a chance that Omar might get an extended run of playing time, pending how Yunel Escobar's adductor muscle feels as we get set to go on this long road trip. Braves are hoping he'll be able to play, obviously, but if not, have to feel good that Omar has got a 4-game hit streak working to start the road trip.
I just heard the phone ring again.
Uh-oh.
You are tuned in.
Deep short. Blum's got it. Off balance throw. It's another hit. You called it, Joe. A 2-hit day for Omar.
Just one of those things that when you're filling in for somebody and you have one good day, you want to back it up with another one, just so that no one thinks it's a fluke. Breaking ball didn't have much on it, did it? Sherwin-Williams. Pitch tracks here, painting the corners. Just didn't have much break on that slider, and Omar able to take advantage.
So Brooks Conrad up for the first time. Strike one.
So you talk about how different the dynamic of things can be in a short period of time. Now here we are coming off a 9-game losing streak. You're about to win 3 games in a row at home, sweep the series. A couple days ago, they would have been pushing to get Yunel back in that lineup, but I guarantee you now, coming off 3 wins and Omar having a couple of multi-hit games in a row, they're going to be a little bit more patient, I think, now.
Good point.
Another pop-up left side. Feliz and Tolles again. This time, the third baseman makes the basket catch. You hear the Astros bench help him out. And Pedro retires Conrad and the Braves in the 8th inning. 7-1 Atlanta. Let's see if the Braves can put a big finish.
you very much, Chip. Well, Ryan Gant's going to be with me, and we've got the star of the game to get to. A lot of candidates out there. Jay Hay, how about Derek Lowe with another fine pitching performance? Braves with a day off coming up, and then a 9-game road trip, so we'll look ahead to that, and we'll get Ryan's keys to the game as well. But right now, I'm going to enjoy my snow cone and get it back up to you guys.
Oh, that's not fair, Fred. Chance for Billy Wagner to tune up here for Atlanta. 4th pitcher of the day. That's our AT&T call to the bullpen. Lowe started. Medlin, Saito, now Billy Wags to try to finish off the 3-game sweep. And 9th game for Billy Wagner, who somewhat surprisingly has already announced that this is it for him. The 2010 season, he's headed back home to Virginia.
How many career saves does he have?
He's closing in on 400. Wagner has 2 this year, so 387. Now, when he signed with the Braves, he signed a 1-year contract with an option for next season. But Billy said, Tommy and Joe, that was something his agent pursued, and here it is, May the 2nd, and he's saying, this is my final rodeo.
Who's is it Johnny Franco's got the career left-handed save?
Yes. Orozco's got the appearances, but I think Franco has the saves.
Billy gets 2 or 3 away from Johnny Franco. If
he might rethink it.
He crawls home and asks Sarah if he can squeeze 1 more year out of that arm.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Everybody's different, quite obviously, but he's still at the top of his game with the new elbow. I mean, I'm sure if he wanted to physically still pitch.
Well, that's you don't know. The physical side obviously is still there. There's other factors at this stage of his career to think about.
Full count to Jason Michaels, who bats here in the Houston 9th.
I mean, there were other factors certainly came into play for you when you were making your decisions the last couple of years of your career with respect to your family, and can I be close, or if not close, how often can I get home, right?
Absolutely.
Again to short. Again a good play. Michaels is out number 1.
And with 1 out here in the 9th, time for our Toyota Tacoma play of the game. Martin Prado robbed of a base hit on a great diving catch by Michael Bourne. Our Toyota Tacoma play of the game.
And he liked it. And he should. That was a super play. J.R. Tolles 0 for 3. Houston a run on 8 hits. When they score 4 runs or more, Houston's won 7 and lost 3.
They didn't come close in this series.
No. That means they're going to be 1 and 13 when they score less than 4. High pop fly. Brooks Conrad runs to a spot in foul ground. 2 outs. Jeff Blum. Jeff flying to right in his first at bat. Came on in the 7th inning. Nice crowd, 25,000 plus. Braves have righted the ship against a Houston team that you figured on paper they should beat, and they have. No offense to the Astros, but there was a team struggling more than the Braves coming in with that 9-game losing streak. They ran into it. And Blum continues his hot hitting. A 2-out single into left field to bring up Michael Bourne.
Turned around a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That was something that plagued the Braves last year too, Chip. Was Braves played real well against the Phillies, won the season series from them, but then they would play down to the level of competition against some of the lesser teams and struggle.
Yeah, we showed what's coming up for the Braves on the road trip. Exhibit A on that would be the Nationals. Again, no disrespect, they're a major league club, but the Braves were only 10-8 against Washington last year. And it appears, at least this season, guys, they're a much better club than they were in 2009.
Yeah, but you still figure them to be a team that the Braves have to handle.
Yeah. If you want to go to the postseason, you've got to make hay while the sun's still shining, as my dad used to say, against those teams.
Houston down to its final strike. And the ball game's over. Boy, Billy Wagner painted the corner. Michael Bourne disagrees. And that's your ball game. The Braves finish off the 3-game sweep. They knock off the Astros 7-1. Perhaps the swagger is back. Atlanta wins handily. Back with more from Turner Field in just a moment.